We broadly in the Labour Party support the Trust this by Members' Bill, because particularly in relation to the recommendation that was made by the Future Funding and Public Service Broadcasting, which was published in a report published in November 2017, and the funding of independent, regional, local, community radio and TV. That recommended that the Minister establish a new scheme to assist those radio stations and the provision of local news and current affairs programmes. And we know what has been done. There's lots of great debates politically and everything on those stations, and RTE has a very important role in this regard. I brought forward an amendment, Public Broadcast Amendment Bill 2016, which had a very simple amendment to the Broadcasting Act 2009, inserting a new section which provided a condition for the award of all sound and broadcasting contracts under Section 65, subsection 8, that at least 30% of the aggregate amount of transition time be allocated music content in the programme provided under the contract should be reserved for music components that relate to some distinguished elements of the culture of the island of Ireland. Now, that was voted down disgracefully, and I can tell you one thing: Fianna Fáil was accused of political cowardice on that occasion by members, former members who sat there with Fianna Fáil. And I would ask you, I'll be bringing it forward in 2019, I would ask you to consider this carefully. But we now have a chance to get it into a committee and deal with it in committee and satisfy. And you see, the point about it is that, you know, at the end of that, following that Irish community music delay in the Dáil, trying to convince politicians from all parties to back the initiative, to introduce the Irish radio, quoted, and I have to say, it ended with a dry statement. It was expertly covered by Alva Conneely of RTE, she's a brilliant journalist, but at the end of the statement, it was a dry statement by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland, admitting that an Irish music quota had one time been submitted to the EU, but following complaint to the European Commission, it was withdrawn because it wasn't compatible with legislation. This rebuttal of the campaign was worded in such a way as to hide the fact that it was the independent Irish radio sector that had made the complaint to Europe, and it derailed the quote in the first place. And indeed, that's evident from Niall Stokes, who admitted this in a hot press article he published some time after he stepped down from his role in the Broadcast Authority. And Michael O'Keefe, who still remains there, is confronting that. I think now, you know, I mean, it's very important that we look at this, and any funding that goes to the stations should be contingent upon achieving this, and I think this should be provided on a contingency basis. You know, because it's farcical the way things are going. What do our actors, musicians, composers, and artists need to do to make this house to wake up to what is happening in our country? The complete abandonment of our natural culture by the powers that be. Powers have only one thing in mind when it comes to culture: how to milk it for monetary profit, till every vestige of artistic value is sapped from it. Well, giving our artists little or no support, our actors are down there on their knees, our songs, people producing songs, but like in Michael English, 15 people employed every night, every petrol station, every restaurant, every hotel, everything is booked because of those guys. Look at them: Johnny Brady, you can name a whole platform, T.R. Dallas, Tony M. Foster and Allen, all of those people, they were all up in the gallery. And there, some of them are Tom Allen, former Fianna Fáil councillor, was so disappointed. So let's get this back. Let's teach the government a lesson. And I'd ask Fianna Fáil to get behind this. Forget about those communicore, those boys writing into us. Forget about them. Let's get the real stuff here. You know, so we need to wake up to the impoverishment of a section of our community who have given so much of their talents to create the global image that now exists. That we are an artistic nation at heart, second to none in Europe. The support we give to the broadcasting sector, and this is crucial, should be contingent on the broadcasting sector supporting homegrown talent. And that's what it should do. For in truth, they do not support talented Irish artists at present. Like our actors and writers, our musicians and composers have been sidelined in the past 30 years without fully realising how it happened. If anyone in this House wants to gain an honest appraisal of Irish broadcasting in our time and how it has abandoned support for local talent, let them read a chapter in the bill, the book that's going to be launched tomorrow night in Galway by Johnny Doohan. And the bill refers to the Bill Whelan of Riverdance fame, who came into this House more than 30 years ago and tried to show us that the crisis we were heading for even back then, but we couldn't listen to him. So I repeat, let whatever support we offer to our broadcasters be contingent on the support and homegrown talent first. And that's very important, because all of those people, and I want to send a message out, Mr. Tuberty is great. He brought this thing and he got 550,000 listeners and that. But there's more talent in Ireland than Nathan Carter. It can't be the one thing. RTE ends up with the presenters interviewing one another for entertainment. There's lots of people across the country. Let them interview and give us a chance. And let's look at our own national thing. They do 6 programmes last in relation to the FLA. 500,000 people in Drogheda last year. They should be given weeks of programming to do that. And RTE better wake up and make sure that at our greatest national event, the Olympics of artistic and cultural and music should be shown a lot more. Because Flat TV, there's 1.4 million viewers on Flat TV of the Flat. So let's be real here. Let's support Irish artists and composers. And I'll be back with a bill before the end of the year. And I've no doubt Fianna Fáil will support it because their supporters will ensure they will.
Sorry, Deputy. There's a 2 minute